So welcome in to the last of the Whale of a Time Suite Lily Pad Stamp Club videos. This is video number 8, and all the way along with these videos we've sort of stuck very much to the colour palette of the DSP paper that's in the pack, but for this one I thought we'd go a little bit more off-piste and just show that you can use whatever colours you like really when you're playing with these stamp sets and things that you know, the world is your oyster. I've got some granny apple green. I think there is some granny apple green in the paper, but I've got some coastal cabana, some flirty flamingo, some gorgeous grape, and some daffodil delight. So very different sort of colours from what we've been playing with before. And I thought we'd do a sort of blended ink background using some of these colours. So I'll get myself the biggest block, I think. And I think for our background, I'm going to go with these 4 colours. So I'm going to have Daffodil Delight, Gorgeous Grape, and Flirty Flamingo, and Coastal Cabana. So what I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to open them up and I'm going to tap some ink from each one onto a corner of my block so that I've got like a bit of a paint palette. The blocks are fabulous for doing this. So there's some Flirty Flamingo, some Gorgeous Grape, and last but not least, let's put in some Daffodil Delight. How pretty is that? Okay, so I'm going to put my ink palette to one side. Let's come this side. I think that will make more sense when I come to use it. I've got some glycerin here, some vegetable glycerin. I'm just going to put a little spot in the middle of my block, and we're going to use that to help us to blend our inks. And I've also got some sponges, Coastal Cabana, Daffodil Delight, Flirty Flamingo, Gorgeous Grape. Right, what colour shall I start with? I think I'm going to start with some Gorgeous Grape. Now I'm going to pick up a little bit of that glycerin out of the middle, and I'm going to add it in to my ink, and you can see there that that ink is sort of merging together, splodging together. Let's get rid of that bit of fluff. I'm just going to bring in some patches of Gorgeous Grape. Next I think we'll bring in some Flirty Flamingo. So again I'm going to pick up some of that glycerin and mix it in with my ink. And again bring that in. On our cardstock, let's have a little bit coming on down here. Let's come in with some Daffodil Delight. We'll put a little bit more glycerin in there, I think. What the glycerin does is it stops the ink from drying out and makes this whole blending process a little bit easier. Some in here and a little bit coming there, and then we're going to take our Coastal Cabana. Last but not least, let's add some of that in to that ink. Let's bring some of that in round here. Blending some of these colours together. Oh, I wonder why that was quite so orangey colour. I'd picked up my Flirty Flamingo sponge with that. Just keep adding in colour. Blending those colours together. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a water brush, my medium sort of size water brush I think. I'm going to squeeze it so I've got some water coming out of it, and I'm going to use that to flick some water onto this background. That's quite a nice little blob went on there. And what the water will do is, I'm going to put a little blob on my palette I think and pick it up. What it will do is it will bleach out the colour in the background. Give that sort of blobby effect. It's almost quite spacey. I'm going to take some of this gorgeous grey and I'm going to sponge it around the edges. What I will do is grab my silicone mat, because when you're doing this on your paper tends to grab onto the ink and it doesn't sponge as well. Go all around the edge with that gorgeous grape. Ooh. Card obviously got a bit damp just there because I have just used ordinary card. I haven't used shimmery white, so it is just ordinary cardstock. So we've got some wild and woolly things going on there. So I think what we'll do now is I'm going to take the embossing folder that has all the seaweed and things on, and I'm going to run this through the embossing folder to add in some more texture and things. So I need to find a plate to make sure that I've got a right sandwich for my big shot for my 3D embossing folder, and depending on your machine is going to depend on what sandwich you need, so do take account of your machine. If you have got a big shot and you don't have one of the blue folders, you'll need one of the normal plates and some sort of a shim. So one of the embossing mats that we used to sell works beautifully, but you might have found other ways. Just some bits of card, just add bits into it until you find that your shim is working. So there we go, we've added in now some texture into that, some seaweed. So a whole lot of colours and things going on there. So very, very different from the blues and the greens we're used to with this particular suite. Now I'm thinking I want that to be or do we want to go Coastal Cabana? That might be rather fun, mightn't it? A Coastal Cabana mat with a sure that is, it's stuck on there. But we could, yes, give that a Coastal Cabana mat onto a gorgeous grape card base. Very funky. I'm going to cut this card at 10.5 centimetres. I'm going to turn it round and score it at 14.9. So we've got a side opening card. Now because we're going to cover up that bit, let's use that slightly bit with funny marks on, because we're going to make those funny marks disappear in a minute underneath our beautiful bright inked background. So let's fold our card base. There, that's very funky, isn't it? So I think it's time we perhaps, I think right from the very beginning, we haven't actually we did a punched whale right at the beginning, but we haven't done one since. So I think today we'll go for a punched whale, and I think we'll make him, what colour shall we make you, punched whale? Just going to grab these colours that we've been using so we can decide. Should we go really mad and have a pink whale? let's just throw that on the floor. Come in and give him to just chop a piece of Coastal Cabana cardstock off so that I can just have that in there for the pieces that we want, rather than using up a whole piece of Coastal Cabana cardstock. For some reason I don't appear to have a fin. I'm not convinced about the colour of that whale. Are we going to go the other way round? Oh, I've just chopped his fin off. I'm thinking I might like that a bit better. Oh. We can still have pink, but we'll make the pink bit. We will, with a little bit of black card, and punch out his eye. That sounds very violent, doesn't it? Make sure we catch that. We'll add in some of the little spotty bits. And we'll do those. I think we'll pick those up. Just picking up some of this ink and glycerine off of our mat just here, rather than wasting it. Some little purple spots on there. And I'm going to take my sponge, my purple sponge, and I'm just going to give him a brush around the edges. And let's sponge the edge of his flirty flamingo to the little belly piece. Oh, where's his eye? Just there. And we'll sponge the edge of his fin. Let's find our glue and build him up. There's that pink underbelly. And that second fin, and about there. I think we want this eye. Eye. And then let's have a look. Which one shall we have? Shall we have a kind of a big deal? That coming in here. Just grab a little bit of this white card. And we'll stamp that in, oh, Flirty Flamingo, I think. Oh, I've got pink ink all over my fingers. Just wipe those. Trim that round. Stick that to a Coastal Cabana background. To take some can't find what I'm looking for. Take some strips of vellum, but the vellum seems to not be, or the oddments of vellum aren't where I expected them to be. Let's just grab a little bit more then. Right, I've taken my vellum and I have torn quite a wide strip that's going to sit across the centre there. I haven't quite decided which way round that's going to go yet. I'm going to take that edge bit off of there. That's better. And then like that. Let me trim that down so it is the width of my card, or I would if my trimmer hadn't just disappeared off the face of the earth. Very bizarre. Where have you gone? Well, let's grab our old trimmer. I'm sure it's around somewhere. And I'm just going to trim this so that it is 13.9 centimetres. Or thereabouts. Excellent. So let's start building some of this together. I'm going to stick our inky embossed background on there. I'm going to take my vellum and I'm just going to run a line of glue across the centre of it, just there, like that. Then I'm going to take some of this ribbon here, and this is the Coastal Cabana ribbon from the Playing with Patterns suite, and it's a lovely sort of, again, quite a soft ribbon, but it's got all this nice texture in it, rather lovely. Let's cut a bit off just there, stick that to the back. Covering up where we've put down that layer of glue. Picked up a nice blob of ink on the back of there, but that's okay. What happens on the back of the card stays on the back of the card. So that's sort of got a nice textured feel to the edge of that. We could possibly add a bit more glue behind where we're going to stick our sentiment and whale if we wanted to, just to anchor it down a little bit more. So let's just going to put another little spot of glue under there and a little bit more just there. You can absolutely see where it is, but actually with this sort of mad background it will probably blend into that background quite nicely, even if we weren't covering it up. So let's add in some dimensionals on our big deal sentiment. Just here. And we'll add in some dimensionals on the back of our whale. And take a little edge piece for his tail piece. I'm going to trim that off a little bit there. That's better. I think we will give this whale a water spout. Somebody was telling me the other day that they went whale watching somewhere and how stinky the whooshing whale spout was. I might just take the Coastal Cabana and just touch the edge of that. Oh, stay there just a minute. Touch the edge of this with some Coastal Cabana. And this one. Before we stick those down, let me put that on there so I don't lose it. Okay, I'm going to stick this card base down. It's very gungy on the back there. Gluey and all sorts of things going on. And then I think I'm still going to be able to use some of these sequins, but I think I'm also going to put in a bow of ribbon. Let's just tie a bow. Could make it slightly smaller. Trim that off. Grab some blue dots. And then let's add in some of these sequins. And perhaps one just here. Can't see my little peeky up bit. So I'm going to go for some of these sort of quite purpley type, purpley blues. Come here. Let's have one more. That's totally mad, isn't it? But very, very different from any of our other cards that we've done. We've just been joined by the dog, who can't understand why Mike shut the door behind him. He's like, what's going on? Why have you just shut me out? Just looking for my little spots, sort of bubbly spots. And pick that up with the Coastal Cabana and just add some of those in. On both. Oh no! Well, don't do what I've done and just add ink in onto your greeting. But ignoring that bit, we've just added in some nice pink, some nice spots. How very infuriating. Let's clean that up, because we can't leave that like that, can we? Let's pick up some ink. That is 3.3 by 3.2. Doesn't look square, does it? Oh. Swing that round. And yes, made that just slightly big enough that hopefully, without any more mishaps, we will be able to tuck that in over there, just like that. What a blob of ink. So there we go. Very mad colourway. So sponged background, use that embossing folder, use the punch again to give that, to create our little whale. And that is the number 8 video. So the last of our videos, last of our projects on this Lily Pad Stamp Club. So let's just remind ourselves of the things that we've created and the things that you can go back to. Let's see if we can do them in some sort of an order. So here's where we started with our background paper that we added in, and we did our punched whales. We then went on to our textured background using the cling film. We created our little triangular box. Oh, where did we go next? Just can't remember. How exciting. Let's just have a look at what else we've got. I think it may have been these. We had these ones where we used the embossed, that background paper, and where we created, this was our class number 1, where we created our strips. We've done a fancy fold. So here's our fancy fold opening up. Dum dum dum. And this little easel folded back. So we had a fancy fold card. This was our class number 2. Using circles, we had a shaker card, and we had our portholes. We had our one sheet wonder, where we stamped our one sheet wonder and created our cards using our one sheet wonder. There they are. We had our scrapbook page. So we've created lots and lots of really lovely projects, and along the way we've shared other things that we found to inspire you. Oh, and our other little home decor. Knew there was something else. A little home decor using the lolly sticks. So what a pile of goodies we have created using our Whale of a Time suite. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you found much to inspire you. I'd love to hear your feedback on what you loved, things you'd like to see added in, because this was very much the first of these lily pad stamp clubs, and it would be lovely to see how we take it forward. So thank you, and I hope some of you will be joining me in lily pad stamp clubs in the future.